welcome to day 98. Today we're looking at First Samuel 1 to 3, and we're getting into maybe some of the more recognizable names. Yesterday was Ruth, the whole book we did in one sitting, and we're being introduced to Samuel today. Samuel's story starts with Elkanah, who was Samuel's dad. He had two wives, Hannah and Peninnah. Hannah couldn't have kids, Peninnah had a few. And she would tease Hannah effectively, and this would cause Hannah to be depressed. Now, and again, I think one of the things that we get from the Old Testament is a really good sense of society back then, right? The fact that Hannah didn't have kids really drove her um, to a sadness and a sorrow because it was so important back then. I remember Sarah um, going as far as to have her handmaid sleep with Abraham, that she might give a child via, via Hagar. And Hannah, equally as distressed by her inability to have kids, so much so that her husband, who apparently really loved her, would try and encourage her, say, "You've got me. Am I not worth 10 sons?" But clearly not. Hannah was so distraught that she would go and she went to the temple praying and weeping so desperately. But it was one of those ones where you're speaking, but really, she's praying within herself, so her lips are moving, but not her, not her voice effectively. And Eli thought that she was drunk. Um, when she explained to Eli what was going on, he blessed her. She goes, by God's grace, she gives birth, and she names him Samuel because she asked the Lord for him. He She then had promised to take him back to the temple to serve there when he is born, and she weans him and does just that. Takes him back to the temple where he serves. Elkanah the priest again, who was there. No, not the Eli, the priest. Blesses Hannah, blesses her to have more children. Um, and she does. She has six more kids. Um, but Eli's sons were really bad, and they were abusing their role as priests. Taking of the meat, seducing the ladies that helped. They were not following the rules. And Eli wasn't disciplining them. He wasn't. He wasn't addressing their blaspheming the Lord. Um, and eventually, he does sort of warn them at one point. They don't care for it. All the while, Samuel's, with them, learning, growing, and yeah. Eventually, Eli receives a message from God where God promises to effectively destroy his family line. He's going to kill the two sons on the same day and break off that line. Samuel's not going to have any descendants effectively. Um, and despite this warning, he gives that warning. Eli isn't. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't discipline his kids. And the Lord starts speaking to Samuel. He calls him initially, and Samuel didn't recognize it was the Lord because this was the first time. And messages from the Lord at this time were quite rare. So he calls him three times. Each time he goes to Eli, he says, "Did you call me?" And Eli's like, "No." And Eli then realizes it's God calling him. So tells him when he hears the call again to say, "Yes, Lord, your servant is listening." He does. And God effectively confirms that he's about to, carry out his wrath against Eli and his sons. And props be to Eli when someone eventually tells him, after having to be effectively forced to do so by Eli, he takes it. He's like, well, the Lord will do what the Lord pleases. And that's where we end in chapter 3. Um, yeah, so God willing, tomorrow